Welcome back to the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify, Apple, or Google, please leave a 5-star rating. It supports the podcast and it doesn't cost you anything. This content is brought to you by Uphold, which is a great crypto platform that I've been using since 2017. They're one of my go-to exchange. You can, of course, buy, sell, trade crypto. They have 10 plus million users, 250 plus cryptocurrencies, and they're available in 150 countries. Right now, they're running a great promo where if you buy $600 in crypto, you can get $50 in Bitcoin. If you'd like to learn more, please visit the link in the description. All right, my friends, we got huge news today. Nasdaq eyes crypto custody launch by the end of the second quarter. We got a Nasdaq representative, I believe it's their CEO actually, but in last name Orbach, said custody is the first step in digital asset push. Exchange Group joins the other big finance firms with crypto plans. So this is being reported by Bloomberg. All right, pump the brakes. Think about this, folks. We had the White House come out this week and say, digital assets are risky and can cause a lot of financial harm and yada, yada, right? We talked about that. Gary Gensler continues his attack on crypto. He's attacking everything. Just this week, Coinbase got a Wells notice. And then look at this. Nasdaq is launching crypto custody. Folks, do you see what's happening? And even further, let me give you some additional thoughts to think about this. Just about 2 weeks ago, who rolled out full crypto trading? Fidelity. Last year, who were the big names that entered the market despite FTX, despite Celsius, despite Terra Luna and 3 Hours Capital? BlackRock launched crypto trading. They partnered with Coinbase. They launched the Bitcoin Spot Trust. BNY Mellon launched crypto custody. And we had MasterCard and Visa launch services, and State Street also did their thing. Folks, you look at the juxtaposition of these things happening, right? On one hand, negative news from the government and regulators, and the attack is on, right? But on the other hand, traditional finance giants, the biggest names, are like, oh yeah, well, we don't care. Oh yeah, here's our service. We just launched it. Come check it out. You see what's happening. The attack on crypto, the agenda is to slow it down, roadblock it, so that these traditional finance players can come in and take over. It's not to kill crypto. It's not to ban it. Think about it. These big companies, BlackRock, Nasdaq, and so forth, they have risk departments, folks. Risk mitigation. If there was a risk that crypto was going to get banned and shut down, and they're going to get sued by the SEC and Gary Gensler is going to come after them, do you think they would launch these services? Right? Think about it. They're here to make money. They're here to grow their revenue and profits. They don't want to get sued. They don't want to get hit by government fines, but they are launching these new services. They are hiring the talent. Folks, look at what is happening. Do you think Nasdaq wants to lose money, especially in the current economic climate we're in? Of course not, but they know crypto's the future. It's here to stay. And right now we are in then they fight you, right? That phase. First, they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, then you win. Don't miss what's happening here. Watch what they do, not what they say. I don't care what the White House report says. I see and what they're doing, and that I see what Nasdaq's doing. I see what BlackRock's doing. I see what Fidelity's doing. I see what BNY Mellon's doing. See what I'm talking about here, guys? So I tweeted about this news, and I said it's becoming clearer every day. The attack on crypto is to allow the Tradfi incumbents to come in and take over. In the midst of turmoil, Fidelity, BlackRock, BNY Mellon, and now Nasdaq are launching crypto custody services. Folks, it's pretty clear. I think it's getting clear, like I said here, day by day. You just sit back and you watch this. It's not a conspiracy theory. Some people, oh yeah, you're talking about this. But what are the facts? What's actually happening? On one side, I have this narrative from these regulators and government officials in the White House, Operation Choke Point and so forth. And on the other hand, I have the biggest institutions in the United States and in the world launching crypto services. So what does that tell me, right? I mean, unless you don't have a normal level of IQ, then you won't. It's going to be hard for you to comprehend. But if you're a normal average person, you will see what the hell is happening here. And you want more confirmation of this, guys? Look at this report coming out from JPMorgan. Here's the headline: U.S. banking crisis could present an opportunity for some crypto exchanges. This is per a JPMorgan report. So JPMorgan, interestingly, is coming out and putting out these statements. I'm like, what's going on here? Well, I'll break it down for you guys. So a number of fintech payment companies and offshore banks are trying to fill the void left by the collapse of Silvergate Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, and Signature Bank in the US. But it will likely take time before new banking networks are established, JP Morgan said in a research report Wednesday. Folks, let me let you into a little insight here. JP Morgan is licking its chops right now to come grab up the business that is left behind by these regional banks. Let's step back for a second and look at the next layer on this. The top layer of this, right? The genesis of this. I think these bank collapses are going to have the centralization or nationalization of banking in the United States. Smaller regional banks are dead, and the bigger banks like JP Morgan, Citi, Bank of America, and so forth are going to become even bigger and stronger. I think that plays into the CBDC distribution and connection to the Fed and payments and all that. But the crypto business that are left back by these banks, which really front run the big banks like JP Morgan and grabbed up the crypto business, will now be sent to the JP Morgans and so forth. So pretty kind of clear what's happening here, right? And once again, these people are going to say, oh, conspiracy theory, but it's like, look at what's happening. It's like playing out in front of our faces, the puzzle pieces of what's going to happen. And a lot of stuff is just logical. Here's a quote. In the meantime, crypto market participants and investors appear to have become more reliant on stablecoins to move money around. Analysts led by Nicholas Penigritzaulau, oh my gosh, I butchered his name, I can't pronounce that, wrote. So he's one of the analysts at JP Morgan. Here's another quote. The banking crisis could present an opportunity for some exchanges which could gain market share by offering banking services to crypto native firms and investors. You don't say. Once again, JP Morgan currently banks Coinbase, Gemini, and some other crypto firms. Citi also banks crypto companies. So notice JP Morgan, Citi haven't cut off their clients, their crypto clients. They're going to try to scoop up what's left behind by these regional banks. And of course, like I said, unfortunately, the centralization and nationalization of banking is taking place. And I think that has to do with CBDCs and the Fed now and so forth. Now, you want more news to confirm my thesis here, folks? Bank of America released statements, and they say tokenization of automobile titles could enable fractional vehicle ownership, allow holders to pledge vehicle title NFTs as collateral in the real world or within DeFi protocols, and increase liquidity on marketplaces. Folks, this is not Coinbase saying that. This is not CZ, Binance saying that. This is not a crypto influencer saying that. This is Bank of America saying that. Tokenization is the future. Everything will be tokenized. Blockchain is the next layer on top of the internet, and NFTs, DeFi, all of these things will be part of the economy moving forward. And this isn't a clear example. Once again, on the one hand, I got the White House saying crypto is bad, risky, yada, yada. Gary Gensler's attacking everything in crypto, trying to make it a security. Yet these big institutions are launching services and putting out narratives that they're bullish on it. What is happening here? I pose that question to make you think, to see the plan that they're putting together here. So let me give you the details, what California is planning to do here and Bank of America is talking about. The California Department of Motor Vehicles tokenization project is an example of how companies and U.S. state and federal agencies are using blockchain-based solutions to drive efficiencies and lower costs. Bank of America said in a research report on Thursday. The department plans to revolutionize its vehicle title and transfer management system by tokenizing the more than 14 million automobiles registered in the state. It will issue vehicle titles as non-fungible tokens, NFT, with ownership recorded on a private version of the Tezos blockchain. Folks, I know it doesn't talk about the cryptos, the respective digital asset on the blockchain, but those of you who are new to the market, I want you to understand something. They don't always have to use the native token, because blockchains which have native tokens, the tokens grease the network. It allows it to function. So when you look at Metcalfe's law, network adoption, the more building, the more tokenization, the more adoption of a blockchain network, the more valuable it becomes. And of course, the more valuable its native token becomes. The native token on the Tezos blockchain is XTZ, also known as Tez. I hold some Tezos, not a lot. I stake it. It's a proof of stake blockchain, and I earn rewards. Folks, this is real world adoption. And guess what? This is the future. Eventually your data, your private data and so forth will be tokenized, and you will be able to sell that and earn an income on it. I'm not saying you're going to make $1 million, but the model of advertising will flip on its head as Web3 grows. Right now in Web2, you see ads everywhere, you get retargeted by ads, but you don't get any of that marketing dollars, right? Well, eventually you will be able to tokenize your data. There will be less breaches of data like we see currently, because your data is going to be in the blockchain and it's going to be secured. And then you can release it to advertisers or certain brands, and they will reward you. That's the future, folks. And then there's so many other things, artwork and so forth, and then things you can do with DeFi. And here is a quote. Tokenization of vehicle titles could also enable fractionalized vehicle ownership, allow holders to pledge vehicle title NFTs as collateral in the real world or within decentralized finance protocols, and increase liquidity on vehicle marketplaces. So the future is going to be wild with tokenization, guys, and all of it running on the blockchain. So once again, just another example of the big players being bullish and launching services in this crypto market, despite everything that's happening right now. Let's move ahead. We got some big crypto regulation updates. We got Congressman Tom Emmer, who I've had on the podcast a few times, Representative Darren Soto. So Darren Soto is a Democrat. Tom Emmer is a Republican. So bipartisan support here. They just introduced the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act to provide clarity for builders in the ecosystem. This is great. The challenge is we need more members of Congress. And I'm a big advocate of Tom Emmer. Once again, I had him on the podcast, and he tweeted out about this bill as well. So great to see Democrats and Republicans working on this. The problem is we need more. We need more. We need the pro-crypto congressmen and senators and so forth to outnumber the anti-crypto ones, right? And of course, there's a big battle, because you can imagine there are anti-crypto folks who are getting lobbied, and or people are lobbying different members of Congress to become anti-crypto, like your Warren Buffetts and your Charlie Mungers and so forth. Now, we know Coinbase, they got issued a Wells notice. It looks like they're going to get sued by the SEC. And yesterday I tweeted at Brian Armstrong, CEO of Coinbase, saying, hey man, form the crypto coalition and sue the SEC. And here, Marvin Amori, chief legal officer at Uniswap, he said, like others in the industry, we at Uniswap Labs stand with Coinbase in the fight against the SEC. But you know what will be better versus verbally saying these things? Form the coalition, pool your resources, put all your names, I should say, on a legal document and sue the hell out of the SEC. So I saw a lot of support for Coinbase, but divided we fall, united we stand. They have to put their names, and it has to come from 50 plus crypto companies in the US, or it's going to be hard for Coinbase alone. Don't get me wrong. Coinbase is powerful. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of resources. I think they can do a lot of damage, the same way Ripple's fighting as well in this lawsuit. But imagine if they came together, and I'm hoping they do, because if the SEC is getting sued by like 50 plus US crypto companies, can you imagine what's going to happen at the SEC and their staff? Their heads are going to be spinning. So you slow down their ability to try to fight back, right? The SEC, that is. And then you also grab the attention of the government, like an entire industry is suing the SEC. That's not going to look good. It's bad PR. So I'm hoping they do that. Now, the SEC, speaking of the SEC, they filed a response to Ripple's defendants' letters regarding supplemental authority from the Bittner and Voyager cases. As we've been talking about, just recently in covering the news, Ripple filed additional documents citing what the judge in the Voyager Binance US case had to say against the SEC officials, excoriating them, right? Saying there's no clarity. What are you guys asking us to do here? Well, Attorney Jeremy Hogan weighed in. He said the SEC finally replies to Ripple's supplemental authority. They must be busy with other things. Although it raises valid points regarding the Bittner case, its attempt to argue that the Voyager judge did not say that the crypto space faces glaring uncertainty is smirkable. So the SEC clearly trying to come up with some BS here, saying, "Oh, he didn't mean that. No, don't listen to him." But the SEC, rotten at its core, has fallen far from its core mission of protecting investors. You had another judge, Sarah Netburn, in the Ripple lawsuit calling them hypocrites. I mean, the SEC is supposed to have integrity, but they're clearly getting called out. And, I think John Deaton and some other folks mentioned, if the government's not going to do anything, then the courts will have to do it here. And at least these judges can see through the BS and the hypocrisy and the lies and the corruption and call it for what it is. Let's move ahead here. Rosalind Layton, who frequently covers the SEC Ripple lawsuits, she did a new article titled "Doltish Regulators Use SVB to Attack Crypto in Non-Sequitur Fashion." And here's a quote from it. "The SEC's war on crypto won't make a single depositor or investor whole, but it will enhance Gary Gensler's power. That's the objective in everything Gensler is doing, after all." Rightfully said. Some good news here. Kwon reportedly arrested in Montenegro using falsified ID documents. And of course, Kwon's been on the run. He is the guy behind Terra Luna. He should be sharing a jail cell with Sam Bankman-Fried and Alex Mashinsky of Celsius, in my opinion. They all should be in jail. Finally, President Nayib Bukele of El Salvador tweeted out, "Next week, I'll be sending a bill to Congress to eliminate taxes, income, property, capital gains, and import tariffs on technology innovations, and such as software programming, coding, and so forth." That's great, guys. And then Binance CEO retweeted that, and he said, "Binance built a customer support center in El Salvador from last year with about 60 staff already. Let's do more." So an example that countries who embrace technology and crypto will do well. And I don't know what the hell the US is doing. I believe eventually they'll stop this nonsense attack on crypto once these big players have launched their services. Because going back to my initial thesis and theory here, right? That this is to slow it down so these big players can launch their services. And watch what happens probably, this year. Big names are going to launch their services while retail is scared and Gary's coming after attacking all these crypto companies, right? Watch it play out. And we're seeing it clearly here. Nasdaq is ready to launch. Again, think about it as a business, right? If there's a risk of being sued and so forth. And just remember, another thing I should have mentioned earlier, the SEC released just recently proposed crypto custody rules. So the timing of all these things, very interesting, right? All right, guys, let me know what you think. Do you agree with my theory here or my thesis? Let me know, and I'll talk to you all later.